All right, we're live. Coach Adeduntan, George Washington University. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Thank
How
you.
are you doing?
I'm living the dream. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. It's called Always an Athlete, and it is a podcast that I started just a few weeks ago to feature people like you who are leaders in sports, law, business, who are making a difference in the world of sports and making a difference in other people's lives through sports. And so I'm really grateful that you joined the show today. As we kick
Yeah.
off, I'd love to hear, Coach, what's a day in the life for you these days?
um, Currently, I would say the last couple of weeks with practices starting officially for us, we're in the morning block. So typically in the 9 to noon is when we're practicing. So a lot of our conversations with our staff is happening the day before. Practice planning is happening the night before. Because first thing in the morning is practice for them. So the players live first, and then we're on the court. So for me, I usually get up, I get myself a workout in, head to the school, and it's practiced, and it turns to a quick meal into meetings. The rest of the day is usually slammed with one-on-one meetings, staff meetings, just trying to touch base with as many people as I can because you got to have conversations and you have to be connected, especially when you're taking over a program. So I like to make sure we're all on the same page. So the meetings take up most of my afternoon, and then it's like a rinse repeat. You get home, do practice plan, eat dinner, and then off to bed.
That's a full day. And when you say one-on-one meetings, who are the meetings with? Your players?
Yeah, whether it be players, staff members, people on campus, people in administration, connecting with constituents across campus as well. But my days are usually slammed with meetings, talking to recruits.
Right.
That's part of the day as well.
Wow. And so you're taking over the program. You went there in the spring of 2025. Yes.
Yes, so got hired end of March, and we've been at it full steam, full speed ahead for the last couple of months. We're at like 5 months at this point. It feels much longer, but it's been good. It's been great being back at GW to a place that I have a lot of familiarity with.
I'd love to talk more about that. So you take over in March as the head coach, but it's not your first stint at George Washington. What was the path
Yeah.
back like? What was the interview process like? And also, Coach, what was your first week like?
um, all great questions. The path here looked like becoming the head coach at Colgate University, which is in upstate New York, and it was inheriting a program that hadn't won. Only had one winning season in 20 years or so. So being able to feel as though it was a challenge that I thought I could handle. I did feel really prepared to lead a program at that point. Previously had a stop at Wheelock College where I was a D3 head coach. So being able to pull from that experience, being able to pull from the head coaching experience at a high school level as well. But every situation is unique. Every situation is different. So it had a lot of challenges for sure, but we were able to build it. And we just kept growing in an upward trajectory and had a great group of players on my roster. And for me, it's important. I was talking to a recruit earlier. We really want to build relationships with our players, and we want to enjoy who they are as people, right? You want to be around really good people. That's important to us character wise. So when we're recruiting, we want that, and I felt like we were able to do that at Colgate, and it was really enjoyable just being with them. Then this opportunity presented itself. There was a hiring process. There are moments I honestly just pinch myself because I would never have imagined being given this opportunity. So feeling really a sense of gratitude. Often it creeps in. I understand the job at hand. It's not one that is easy. There's already been very hard days and challenging moments. But I feel like I'm ready and prepared again for it. Having done it recently at Colgate, it's gonna look a lot different here. It's a different situation, a different league, a different conference, a different group of people that I'm with and working with. But it was an extensive interviewing process. Throughout the process, I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting it. But I walked into every scenario, every interview, every question Leaning in. I like to use the words lean in, sink into your level of training. I felt really that I had been training for that moment, that opportunity, and here I am. The first couple of days on the job was really just trying to assess the program, understand the roster that was returning, um, get a lay of the land again. A lot of familiar faces at GW, which has made it really nice for me to settle. But at the same time, time causes things to change. So really just trying to analyze as much as I can, gather as much information as I can so I could be equipped for, okay, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to do it. I'm someone that prides myself in just being able to adjust. While you may have a plan, you got to just assess what you have and then go and make your decisions based on that information.
That's very interesting. And Coach, you turned it around at Colgate, and going into that job, how did you think about what was going to be needed to turn that into a winning program when it comes to the grit as the leader of the program, but also what types of athletes when you're meeting with either high school athletes or junior college athletes or athletes even from other universities who are thinking about transferring. What
Yeah.
characteristics are you looking for in the building blocks of your program?
Yeah, generally speaking, before I even touch on just like the type of players we're recruiting, it was important that I set a tone of being really set on the type of culture that we wanted to build there. And it was a positive culture where negativity cannot grow. It was a championship level type culture in the way that we handled things, how we showed up every single day, the way we behave, act, how we think, being like minded, our expectations and standards. We wanted to be at a high level, but a positively high level. So that was what I walked in day one at Colgate. But then it's okay, these things are going to be important to us. So we're laying the foundation, we're building upon it. Got to have the right people. At the end of the day, you need to recruit talent, right? But it can't just be we're going to recruit good players that are not going to fit into what our culture means and what's important to us. So assessing that. And I also have been strategic to only work at high academic institutions. So trying to navigate the type of student athletes that could fit
Right.
into the rigor of academics, into the community of Colgate. Colgate is a unique place and is not for everybody. So recognizing that right away, we can't recruit everybody because it's not just going to be their cup of tea.
Right.
And being able to just move on once we realize, okay, this is not a good fit for you. There are players or student athletes out there, they're searching and seeking this type of opportunity. So being strategic in who we're recruiting, how we're recruiting, the conversations that we're having. Um, with the talent, like you want people who are bucket getters, period,
Right.
right? And then outside of that, they have to meet our absolutes. When I talk about absolutes, that's a way that we communicate non-negotiables. So communication, competitiveness, energy, and enthusiasm is important to me. So I'm assessing those things right after we realize that you're a bucket getter. Then it's, are you a winner? Because if you're a winner, like the way you show up is just different, right? If you've won, like if you won championships, you won at a high level, the way you show up is different. Losing is not an option for you. You're going to keep trying to work at it. You're going to keep having this hunger to grow and get better. So those are the conversations that we're having. And I asked my staff, like, have they won? Right? So we're trying to make a decision between two players. Who's won at a high level, right? Who competes? Who's growing? Who's actually coachable, right? Who's going to be selfless? Who's cheering on their teammates? Who has this certain level of love and willingness to support and encourage each other? Because this is a team sport, right? We're not playing an individual sport, we're playing a team sport. So those are the attributes and the characteristics we're looking for.
And Coach, when you talk about recruiting, I know from getting to know you over the years that your basketball journey did not start as a coach. It started as a recruit, as an athlete yourself, right? So you're
Mm-hmm.
from Georgia. Would you talk to our listeners about when you were the recruit and how you picked Florida State, and then also how you ended up thriving at Florida State?
Yeah, we're going way back, throwback. Trying to remember those years. What's
It's
interesting,
not
I,
that it's
I
coach. It's
was,
not that far back. Okay, we're around the same
I would
year.
say, I think about this sometimes when we're talking with our staff, just like, It's not always easy to get in touch with recruits. I was that recruit.
Right.
I was not trying to be on the phone with these coaches. Like, what are we doing? I was trying to be at the park playing ball,
Right.
trying to get better, studying. Like, why am I trying to have conversations? So sometimes I have to remind myself, these kids have stuff going on, right? Yes, we were trying to build relationships, but at the same time, they have stuff going on. I was one that was very shy and very quiet. I have to remember that too. Sometimes these kids are not just going to be talkative. So I try to put myself in their shoes all the time for sure. I was recruited pretty heavily. I was that kid that got a lot of letters, a lot of phone calls, and I was not trying to have it. But obviously, I did. I had conversations. The people that got in touch with me had to work a little bit hard, though. They had to work hard to get in touch with me, build relationships with myself and my parents. Um, I had a lot of options when you think about ACC, SEC down the line. But for me, it was just who I felt like I could connect with, right? Who truly was going to look at me as a person first. And that's the way that I approach coaching, really caring about our student athletes as human beings and doing it not just for the competitiveness of the game, but for the human side of things and helping them grow and develop. And I feel like I got all those things in Sue Semrau at Florida State, who looked at me as a person, who understood the academics was important to me and she was going to support it. And then the other piece was, could I be an impact somewhere, right? There are a lot of options where these schools were winning, even right at home in my backyard. But could I go somewhere where I could be a part of the reason why we really took it to the trajectory in which Coach Sue was intending? So Florida State, I decided on being a Seminole.
And what were your thoughts as a Floridian? I can ask this. What were your thoughts when you went to Tallahassee and toured the campus?
Yeah, I thought it was beautiful. It was a big campus like that. In that stretch, they were just about to open a new basketball training center. It was called the BTC. So they showed me the renderings. I'm like, okay, they're really investing in basketball. So it was just a men's and women's basketball facility. The weight room was just ours. The practice court was ours. Our locker room, like all those things. So I appreciated it, and I believed in the vision that Coach Sue was laying, and I really liked the people that I was around as players. They were strategic in bringing me up with another recruit at the time, and we connected, and I just felt like it could be a good fit for us.
One last question about the olden days. You have a lot of siblings. What was uh, driveway or park basketball like growing up? Who was the best? Who could check you? Who did you give fits to?
Yeah. My older brother, he's definitely the driving force behind all of this. Like, this does not exist without my older brother. So we would go at it. We would go at it growing up, and then my younger brother later on decided to play. My sister wasn't really into basketball. Volleyball became her thing in high school, but for sure it was my older brother who I looked up to, who would teach me, who was physical with me in the park and even at home, using shooting hoops at our goal. We would rebound for each other. We'd play against each other, but it was definitely good times, and I appreciate those moments, especially going to the parks, growing up with him, and just being exposed to the game, being more competitive because you're playing against guys, right? So they're tougher, they're bigger, they're stronger, all those things. So being able to get some of those, build some of those skill sets against stronger, quicker, faster, I think helped me develop a lot quicker.
That's great. And your both of your brothers, but your older brother in particular, has been a good friend of mine and a motivator for me as well, and all the different aspects of life since we met about 10 years ago.
Love that.
Yeah,
Love that. Yeah, Rel's a good dude.
agreed. So one other thing that you already mentioned that I wanted to go back to is the stakeholders across a university like George Washington. To the extent that you can talk about it, who do you collaborate with on campus on behalf of not just your team but the greater mission of the university?
Yeah, I think just internally with athletics, the connection is there with our athletic director, who's really invested in just our success. With GW not having football, basketball is there's a lot of investment and resources being poured into us, so the expectations are high, right? But the support is also there. The good thing that really got me excited about coming back here is we have a president that really values sport, being the front porch to an institution, being the opportunity for community to come together, right? When you can have pride for your, for sports, like how do you get people to join and hang out and cheer and celebrate? It's sport, right? That's what it does. It connects people. So that was something that was really cool and awesome to hear from the jump. Like, we got to have a president that supports this thing, and we do. She's all in, which is a great thing, and it's not always the case, right? But there's so many other constituents across campus, like you mentioned. From we actually had a conversation today at our all staff meeting. Student affairs, just the VP for student affairs, and they want to be really connected and invested. Like, how can we make sure that people know that we have a game going on tonight, right? That's important, because while there's so much happening on campus, sport is another way to create community, right? So we want to be able to join first forces and have the general student body be able to know and come and celebrate and have this school spirit and school pride. And when you win, that helps it, right? It helps generate it. But you can go across the board, from compliance, people we have to work with to help our student athletes, to athletic trainers, to mental health services, to student health services. There's so many people that we're working with every single day just to help and support our student athletes.
That's very interesting. And Coach, tell me, what has either sports or coaching taught you about life when you're not in the gym?
Yeah. Um, I think for me, and a lot of it has to do with my background, I fully believe and also understand that this game is not life or death, right? So, and the perspective comes from working as a nurse practitioner in a profession medically that at times is life and death. Um, so remembering that in moments where, okay, we didn't do what we needed to do in this game, or we didn't have a great practice, just being able to move on,
Right.
just move on quickly, remaining present in whatever I'm doing, and then just remind myself to have fun with it.
And Coach, so thanks for mentioning that. So you had a nursing education. I didn't know you practiced as a nurse as well. Would you talk to me about that? So what your experience practicing nursing, and then the decision? Well, I don't know if you were doing that part time. The decision
Yeah.
to leave nursing to go full time into sports. What was that like?
Yeah. So, nursing, I studied nursing undergrad at Florida State, went on, I got my master's at Florida State, and then moved to Boston to get my doctorate in nursing at Northeastern. So Florida State, 2 degrees, and then Northeastern was my doctorate. And basketball was always there, right?
Okay.
So school was full time. I worked as an operating room nurse. Um, did that for probably about 4 years or so. And then as a nurse practitioner, I worked with adolescent health. I did infectious disease, and then I worked with the anesthesia group and did pain management. So that was like my most recent, or at this point it's been years ago, but my last stint as a nurse practitioner. Working in surgery was awesome, and if I would have stayed in nursing, I probably would have transitioned to orthopedics, just because I like the sports medicine side of things, and I did that a lot. With just working as a nurse in the operating room. But basketball was always on the side, so I was doing training. I was working with a travel team, Essence Women's Basketball. I coached high school while in school and working, and then when I was working as a nurse practitioner in Boston, I got a chance to be the head coach at a D3 school, and that position was part time.
Okay.
So, um, no coaching is ever part time
Right.
if you think about it, but the position was part time, and it was in that moment that I just realized this is what I want to be doing full time.
Sure.
I love this. I had been thinking about it for some years, but just the education, the timing of things, I wanted to be sure. So I felt like I had worked long enough to know like I could fall back on this if I decide to, if coaching doesn't work out for me full time. And then it has.
Right.
I set the goal to be a head coach, and it has. But those nursing experiences definitely are a big part of me, and of who I am as a person in general, and for sure who I am as a coach.
And tell me if I have the timeline right. Florida high school, North Florida Christian School, Essence girls basketball. That is an AAU team,
Yep, that's AU.
and then Northeastern.
Yeah, Essence is AU travel team. I actually did worked with Yeah, I actually worked with another travel team in the New England area, New England Crusaders for a little bit, and then Northeastern was where I got my doctorate.
Right.
But it was where I got my first Division 1 coaching job as an assistant. So it was Wheelock and then Northeastern as my first D1 assistant job.
While getting your doctorate.
The I was done with my doctorate,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I finished my doctorate. Then I worked as a nurse practitioner and coached Division 3. I was done with my doctorate when I got the D1 assistant job.
All right. I see. And then George Washington as an assistant.
Yep,
All right.
GW as an assistant.
Okay.
I was here for 4 years.
And then Colgate,
Colgate,
and then
four
and
years
back home to GW.
back home.
All right. So I'd love to talk about GW and also the state of women's basketball. So you have been around collegiate basketball since 2002.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Not
we are
to
doing
age
the math.
you.
It's been that long.
Yeah. So what evolution have you seen in the game from when you were a student athlete to now being a leader of student athletes?
I think the biggest evolution is just the visibility. I'm gonna be biased. Like we were getting buckets,
I
we were
bet.
hoopers back in the day too.
Right,
Like
right.
I'm thinking about that question. Like we had some ballers. The game was great, but it wasn't visible enough. I mean, people watched, but not the way that they're watching now. Social media has completely changed the game, right? And obviously, you have players that are pushing and pushing more viewers, more a different type of viewage, right? And your Caitlin Clark and your Paige Beckers for sure. But I think about Alana Beard when I played. She was in a league in the ACC. She's one of the best players to ever play, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But we people miss some really special talent, I would say, because if you flip it and you added the visibility that is now, then I think we could probably even be further along in just the women's game. But the visibility for sure has changed things.
And you mentioned earlier the limited bandwidth of young athletes, and you were kind of thinking back to when you were being recruited, and I remember those days as well, and I can't imagine the the things pulling on the time of not only high school athletes but also collegiate athletes now that you can actually be gainfully we could be gainfully employed, back in our days, but now students can benefit from their NIL, the name, image, likeness,
Hmm.
and has that, even in the time that you've been a coach, has it, so pre NIL to now, has that changed some of the conversations that you have with athletes and their families, and if so, how?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, being strategic to work at a high academic institution, that to me has been the product that I'm selling, right? So now all of a sudden is like, yeah, this is a good product, but if I could make this much money somewhere else, why does that matter as much, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying like for young women specifically that it still doesn't matter, but like I'll go to that school and make this amount of money now. Why do I have to wait 4 or 5 years to go make money when I could be making money? So it's made it challenging, right? But we're a school, we're resourced well, where we can be competitive and have those conversations too. But at the same time, it's different.
Mhm.
But if you're not with it, then you're gonna just be lost. You're gonna be left behind, and we're an institution, we're a program, at least an athletic department that does not want to be left behind. So we're with the times.
And so, Coach, as you think about your time, you've returned now to GW. It's been 6 7 months, and your first season is kicking off. When's your first game?
November 3rd is our first home game, official game.
So right around the corner. And as so you think about and set goals for yourself and your team for this year, what did the division board have on it, and then what's the trajectory when you look out years down the road? What do you see in the future?
Yeah, well, if I look back on this season, success is going to look like a team that came together, a team that really showed and displayed not just by our words, but our actions of what our culture is, right? A certain level of connectivity. And then we want to be competitors on the court, understanding that it takes a lot to win, right? But showing up every single day and giving our best. I want people when they watch us to know that GW's here. We're a group that's going to give our very best. We're going to play together. We're going to be connected. We're going to have fun while we're doing it, and just keep our goal is just keep getting better. So I want to be able to establish this level and this foundation of this is GW. This is our identity. This is who we are, and then we're just going to keep working on just keep getting better. And then the goals, it changes, right? What we're going to be committed to, we're going to elevate every single season that we're here. But I also understand, I say this often, that growth is not linear, and we're okay with where we are today. Understand that tomorrow we just want to be a little bit better. Just want to keep getting better.
And what does getting better mean for a coach? That's one question. And then a similar question is, what are some of the traits that you've seen in coaches that you've either had directly or coaches that you've observed over the course of your career? What are the tools that the
Yeah.
best coach has in their toolbox?
Yeah, for me is like, are we willing to do everything that winning requires every single day, consistently? Winning is not easy, but everyone they start a game wanting to win, right? Everyone starts their season wanting to win a championship. Everyone has the same goals. No one's doing this thing to lose,
Right.
right? And I also always remind our players, but are we going to do what winning requires every single day? And I think the intangibles of giving your best, working as hard as you can, showing up, pushing through adversity, being fighters, being resilient, like that's all the things that you're experiencing within a season, right? So we're trying to be a group that just is going to do what winning requires. And but some of these things have to be taught, right? So for me, I just want to make sure that our kids are just stay believers, right? Stay just being willing to be coached, absorb as much as they can every single day, and have a growth mentality. Because if we do that, we're just going to get better. But if we don't do it, then we're going to put ourselves in a position to either stay the same or get worse.
And do you have a mentor, or have you had mentors?
Yes, definitely have a couple of mentors, and one of them for sure is my head coach at Florida State, who I still talk to very frequently, and she was a big part of this process for me getting back to GW and just like what I wanted and what I needed, and just the preparation of it, throughout my time at Colgate, and then just conversations now. But she's been excellent. Corey Close is another one. She's a head coach at UCLA. She's one that I do lean into as another mentor, and it's been awesome to be able to see like just her trajectory and what she's done with UCLA. They made it to the Final Four last year. We actually got a chance to play against UCLA last year when I was at Colgate, and it was such a great experience. I'd like to say the student met the mentor for sure. So
That's great.
prepping against her, prepping against a Final Four caliber team at that point too. I think they were top 2 or 3 in the country. It was pretty awesome.
That is awesome. And is Florida State on the schedule this year?
They are not. At some point, they
Okay.
will.
Okay.
At some point, we'll have to get them.
That's great. All right, so Coach, I wanted to transition to a fun part of the discussion, which I call the mic and drill. So basically, it's self-explanatory to you, but basically, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, relatively rapid fire. Some are like, left or right. Some of them are just, list your favorite X, Y, Z things. So my first mic and drill question for you is East Coast or West Coast?
East.
Uh, the North or the South?
South.
Okay. Um, the all right. So if you're recruiting and you're building a team from scratch, you have 0 people on your roster. Your first recruit is either the top point guard in the class or the top center.
Top point guard.
Why?
You win with guards. I've always felt that way. You win with guards. The point guard is an extension of the coach on the court. The post player has to get the ball. Who's going to give him the ball? The
Right.
point guard.
Right. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you this next question in the context of both when you were playing and now coaching. So you're playing, and you get to pick. Your team is either up one on defense, 10 seconds left, or you are down one on offense, 10 seconds left. You're the player. What do you pick?
I, I'm the player, defensive minded player, so we're gonna stop. We're up.
Okay. All right. Is it the same answer as a coach?
It actually is the same answer. Yeah,
Okay.
which is funny. It is the same answer. We're gonna get a stop.
All right. A vacation in the snow-capped mountains or at the beach?
The beach.
Workout in the morning or in the evening?
Morning, because
All
the evening is not It's not happening at night.
okay. And then who are your, if you can name them, your favorite WNBA players? You say top five of all time.
Of all time, my favorite. My favorite of all time. Maya Moore's up there. Um, I'm like losing her name all of a sudden. She played for Houston. Why can't I think of her name all of a sudden? Diana Taurasi's up there too. I think she's great. Um, let's see. I think Asia Wilson is going to be one of the greatest of all time. So we can go ahead and put her name in there, especially if
Right.
she wins a championship this go around. Um, Cynthia Cooper, that's her. Oh yeah, she's up there. Um, let's see what Lisa Leslie. She is a dog. I could probably give you a list of like 10 to 15, but those are some for sure off the top.
That's a great list. All right. And then are there players that you played against? It doesn't have to be five, any particular number, but are there players that you played against where when you were playing against them, you knew, wow, that person's special. They have it.
Yeah, I can just think of the ACC. Our conference was very, very competitive. I think I mentioned Alana Beard already. She was tough. Um, Erlina Larkins, she played for North Carolina. She was tough. Um, some other names, Shada Ron, and she played for Maryland. Tough. Um, and we played against Diana Taurasi in college. UConn came to Florida State. But yeah, some really great competitive games. But the ACC attracts really good talent, so all those games were always competitive.
All right. So I'm going to ask you some men's basketball questions, just a couple. Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan,
Magic or Bird?
Magic,
Shaq or the Dream? Olajuwon.
uh, I'm going with Olajuwon.
Why Olajuwon?
Footwork,
Yeah.
different type of post player.
Yeah.
I'm all about like add a little finesse to the game.
Yeah.
I think
Did he
Shaq
box?
is just a bruiser.
Yeah. All right, all right. So I'll transition to the next part of the discussion. Thanks for participating in the mic and drill. Do your players do the mic and drill, by the way, or is that
Absolutely, we
they
do
always still
different
do
variations.
it? Okay.
Yeah, we do different variations off one foot, inside, outside,
Right.
outside. Like, yeah, oh,
Okay. All
absolutely.
right. Awesome. All right. So always an athlete was, believe it or not, it was an idea that your brother gave me without even knowing it. We had a trial
Mm.
together like 8 years ago, and after the trial, Real One gave me a trophy of a Gatorade bottle. And on the bottom of the Gatorade bottle was an inscription that said Jonathan Osborne, trial athlete. And the reason why he did it when he presented the trophy to me was one, because I walk around the courtroom with a Gatorade bottle, but also I think because he saw the way that I prepared for the trial and how intensely I approached our work. And he's the same way. And he was kind of recognizing in me a trait that he also has, and it sounds like it's a family trait. And so that backdrop to say to you that that was 8 years ago, I think. And
Yeah.
the idea of what he recognized in me has stuck with me, and I carry it with me everywhere that I go. Walk like a ball player type mentality. So turning it back to you, Coach, how has the athletic mindset shaped who you are I know it shaped your career path, but how has it shaped your character and the way that you approach life?
Yeah, I even think I go back to nursing with this right away. Because I feel like an athlete in that hospital. I had my Nikes on,
Okay.
my little sneakers on.
Right. Right.
Probably had a T-shirt under my scrubs. It was probably a basketball
Yeah.
T-shirt. So I was
Ready to
walking
go.
around in there like everyone knew who's this 6'1"
Right.
tall woman. Like, you play basketball? Absolutely. You're a nurse? Absolutely. Like, let's get it.
Yes.
But there's a certain level of confidence that you have as an athlete. You're put in these pressure situations. I mean, obviously I'm coaching now, so like it's more connected, but like even as a nurse, like just the preparation that and the intensity in which I study to pass my boards, to show up every single day, to be prepared, right? And then leaning into the preparation to build the confidence to be able to walk in there and say, yeah, I'm taking care of you today. We got this. It's the same mentality as a leader and a coach now. Is like preparation is key. You get your confidence from the work that you put in, right? You can sink to your level of training from the work that you put in. But what you're talking about resonates very, very dearly to me, and just what we have to go through. And I even think some days in the morning I'm working hard out before coming to work, and I'm like, you can do hard things. You
Yeah.
can get to it. You can do it. The morning workouts. I don't think I would be doing that, but I learned how to do it in college. So I'm like, I can do it. I can get up early and get this in.
Does your workout still entail a little hoops, a little dribbling, a little
Uh,
dunking?
not these days. For a while, it did.
Right.
It definitely did for a while. It was the best way to stay in shape then. But now it's just running and lifting and just trying to stay healthy.
I hear that 100%. And so, coach, as you think about how athletics has changed, how women's basketball has changed, you're at George Washington. Before this, you were at Colgate. You played at Florida State. All institutions with very high academic standards for all their students, including athletes. How do you and your staff work with your players now to help them shape their career path after sports, whenever that may be, right? Could be after their professional career, it could be directly after college. How do you all kind of shape that conversation with modern day athletes?
Yeah, I think it's having those conversations very early on. I think what separates us as a staff is we value the holistic development of our student athletes, not just them developing as basketball players. We want them to develop as people, right? We want them to have certain skill sets. We're pushing and helping them mature and grow now, like helping them figure out how to be leaders, helping them figure out how to communicate with people, have hard conversations. We do what's called leadership enhancement, where we're doing different sessions and having conversations that are pushing them and challenging them to grow, right? So having those conversations with them early on, and then asking them what their goals are, what their aspirations are, what do they want to do in the future, and then how can we be supportive. So we're always going to have different sessions, conversations. We bring people in. Like, we had someone come in to do financial literacy with them. So we don't want them thinking about this in their senior year of their last semester. We want to be having these conversations early on so that as they're learning themselves, because people change and grow, right? And when they do, like, we want to just expose them and have the conversations on top of the resources that we have available to them, so that we can support them. So then by the time it's, hey, you already have a plan, right? We don't want to get to our last semester and you have no idea what we're doing. We want to be having those conversations early on. And we have a great group of coaches on our staff who are really intentional about those things. And we value it as coaches, so our players are already receiving it.
And as we talk about your players, it actually is a good segue to the last sort of topic for the conversation is well, two of them. One of them is legacy. The other one is adversity. And at least in my life, they've tended to go hand in hand. Not always at the same time, but I find that some of the most difficult circumstances have led to some of the best outcomes once I persevered through the challenges.
Mm.
But I think having a life that's not always easy gives us an appreciation for the blessings that we receive. So I'm interested to hear from you, Coach. What role, if any, has adversity had in your journey? And then next question would be, talk to me about legacy. What's the what do you, at the end of your coaching career, whenever that is, what do you want to look back and feel like you've accomplished?
Yeah, adversity definitely kicks in its own different ways. I think about college. One of the biggest adversities that I faced as a young person then, that has stayed with me, and will forever stay with me. It was a passing of a teammate. Right, one of the hardest thing that I've ever experienced, and within a group. But then what we were able to do, just with how we came together, how we grew from it, right? A lot of down moments, right? A lot of tears, a lot of emotions, but we were able to get through it together, right? So the power, I use the word connectivity often, but the power of that connection, the power of team, the power of leaning in to adversity and being able to get to the other side and be stronger from it. That's with me every single day. While what we get to do, and I said it before, is not life or death. My viewpoint and how I just approach things. If a game is lost, like how can I learn and grow from it?
Right.
Right, being able to move on quickly. So that's one. And adversity will hit in different ways, from injuries to personal things that you're trying to persevere through. But understanding, I like to say all the time, I can do hard things,
Right.
right? I can do hard things. Feeling the feelings, like just feel your emotions and let it out. I've learned to do that a lot more in the last couple of years for sure. But yeah, adversity has taught me a lot, and I often like to, as a leader, pour into our players and give them what I think could be a gem that can help them not just on the court, but off the court. And most often, when I'm talking to my athletes, our players, I'm talking to myself. It's just a reminder, right? So when I'm telling them they got to push through and lean in, they can do hard things, like they're tough, all these things, like being present in the moment, being grateful for the opportunity. Those are just reminders for myself too on how I want to show up every single day. What was the second part of your question?
I'll ask it again in a second, but you made me. I thought of a question while you were talking just now, and it is about motivation. And so, when your player hits a big bucket or gets a big stop on defense, what's your like rallying call? So mine, even when I was playing all those years ago, was like a really loud "Let's go!" like "Let's go" type of vibes. What do you have anything like that you find yourself saying when you're excited?
I probably will have used that. I'm a very energetic, passionate coach.
Okay,
I don't sit. I stand. I'm doing defensive slides on the sideline. I'm active, the hands all over the place. I'm intense.
right,
Like, I like to think I'm playing the game with them. Like, I'm there. I'm with you.
right.
So there's a lot going on. Let's go for sure is one. And one, things like
Okay,
that. Yeah, right there. Like I'm in it. Because it's
awesome.
just so much fun. It's more fun that way. Like I don't want to just sit there and like the game is exciting. Like let's come on, let's get
That
it.
so legacy. Um, what if when you think about the future and one day looking back on your career, what mark do you want to leave?
Yeah, I my hope and I guess will and want is that I'm just remembered as a person that loved her players and gave her best every day that she showed up. It was bigger, that it's bigger than basketball for me. Um, that I was a teacher and an educator firstly, right? And then all the other traits of passionate, intense, competitive. Like I want people to remember me as that too. And then at the end of it, I just loved hard. I love people hard. I care about them as human beings, and that I was a winner, right? But winning doesn't have to show up necessarily in that win loss record. Like just finding success and being a winner can look different. But I would want people to see me as a winner.
Thank you for sharing that, coach. And as we close out, I'd love for you to tell me and tell anyone who watches this about your team. Um,
Yeah,
where can
it's
we find you? What are the games that we should be circling on our calendars? What's the social media? how can we find you and your players to support GW basketball?
Yeah, I guess I should make sure I know our Twitter handle and our IG handle for sure. But you can find us online, GW Sports for sure, to find our schedule.
Okay.
It's on there, it's posted. You can follow us on social media, GW underscore WBB. That's Twitter. And then I'll look up here Instagram. I'm still learning everything. So GW Instagram is a little bit different. Actually, it's the same, GW underscore WBB.
Okay.
For Instagram. But as far as games, whatever people can make, but we're also on ESPN Plus. And then if you're local in the DC area, we'll be on Monumental Sports as well. But all of our games will be streamed online, so it's easy to watch it wherever you are.
That's extremely exciting. And does GW have a rival? What are, if any, the games? It could be in conference, out of conference, that either you or your staff or your players are like, yeah, we got so and so this year. They have to see us.
Yeah. For me, the most important game is the next game, and that's how I've always been. Because you play one opponent, you can either win or lose. We only get one win, right? So there's no team on your schedule that's worth more wins. So it's always been the next one. But as far as rivalry goes in our conference, it's George Mason right up the street, about 30 minutes away. And then defending the district is important. So we get a chance to play Georgetown this year, Howard this year, American University, who are all in Washington, D.C.
Right.
So I do feel like all those games will be exciting. They're all going to be equate to the same number of wins individually, but it'll be fun for sure because those games are always competitive when you're trying to be one of the best teams or the best team in your area.
That's amazing. So I'm committing to come to the Georgetown game. I may have on a Georgetown shirt, but I'm going to sit on your side.
Oh yeah.
as a Hoya, I'll be cheering for GW.
Okay. Okay.
So thank you, Coach,
Appreciate that.
so much for joining me on the show. And just one last question for you, for the young coach or the young student who looks at this and says, "I want to be like her." What's your advice?
Yeah, I would say don't stop going. Right, be a student at the game. Even as a player, as an athlete, be a student in the game. Don't ever feel like you know it all. Keep having this humility to learn and grow and get better. And those are things I'm still reminding myself. Be humble, stay hungry. Those are the characteristics truly of a champion, and just keep working at it.
Thank you, Coach. There you have it. This has been a really great session. I really appreciate your time today. I appreciate all your insight, sharing your wisdom, your joy for what you do and the students that you do it with. And thank you for being a guest on Always an Athlete. It's much appreciated.
Yeah. No, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for thinking about me. This whole concept is awesome. Just always an athlete. Everything about it resonates for sure, and it's what I lean into every single day, and all those traits and characteristics that we were taught, right, is a big part of who we are. Just not even as professionals, just as human beings.
Well, thank you, Coach. Let's, on behalf of GW, let's go.
Let's go.
I really appreciate you, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, take care.
All right, you too. Thank you.